come once again to discuss things.
Just bend over and take it. Hi everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Geeky Gentlemen, or not week's episode, welcome to this special episode of Geeky Gentlemen.
It's special.
It's special because we're probably going to go a bit longer than a mini this week. I'm Zazubaar2, joining me today is Zazubaar and Deadpoolzilla. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hello, gentlemen.
What's up, bitches?
His is significantly more aggressive than mine.
Like,
hey, you fucktards, how's it going?
Right. So, we are here today to review the new reboot of the Robocop franchise,
dun, dun,
Robocop.
Dun, 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 dun.
Right?
Oh,
anyway.
I've been waiting for this, dude. Bated breath, motherfuckers. Bated breath.
Alright, well, you guys want to just go off real quick, say, like, not give reasons why, just yes or no, did you enjoy it, and then we'll get into it?
Whatever you want to do, my friend, it's your show.
Okay, Bill, why don't you go ahead? Good, bad, did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it?
I enjoyed it a lot.
Okay, Deadpoolzilla?
I liked it, but the thing is that this is in no stretch of the imagination a Oscar-worthy film. But it's fun. It's finally we have an 80s movie that I can clearly say, an 80s remake movie in the past 3 years that hasn't sucked.
Mm-hmm. I really did enjoy it more than I thought I would. Alright. Like, it's a completely different thing from the original Robocop, which is what I think helps it.
Yeah.
So, where do we want to begin, gentlemen?
I would like to start by saying this, because it's been on my mind, and I want to get it on recording before it leaves my mind. This, to me... Okay, here's what this feels like to me. This did not feel like a remake of Robocop to me. It feels like the original Robocop was based on a book. And this isn't true, obviously, but let's say for argument's sake it was. That it was based on a book. And then in the 1980s, that movie is that interpretation of that book, which tells the story of a cop named Alex Murphy who gets turned into a cyborg and the ensuing details of that, based on that same basic premise. This movie feels like it's adapting that book as opposed to that movie.
Fair enough.
See what I mean? It doesn't feel like it's readapting that movie for a modern era. It feels like it's readapting the basic concept for a modern era and then doing its own spin on it. I think it's very similar to Rise of the Planet of the Apes in that way.
I'll give you that. I definitely felt that way too, because this is a much more all the things I've heard about it from people that didn't enjoy it were like, it's not a satire like the original, and it's definitely not. It's something entirely different, and the only thing it has in common is the premise of a cop gets turned into a cyborg.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, this is a much more serious piece. It still has its moments of, like, political satire and stuff, but it's much more grounded, much more serious, much more, like, hard science fiction, and it's more than anything, I think, a character piece.
Oh, I completely agree with that. It's definitely a movie that's not heavy in plot at all, and in fact, I think it's kind of hard to point to the exact plot. It's more or less that basic premise of Robocop, and then just kind of dealing with the consequences of it. There's no through line. Like, I mean, the original movie has the drug trade and the weapon smuggling and all that, and the bad OCP dude. This movie doesn't have that. It doesn't have a through line.
And that's a problem with it, I think.
I agree.
The plot does get a little... elements of the plot get a little forgettable. I think this would almost work better if it were like 2 episodes, or 2 to 3 episodes of a season of television about Robocop.
It's actually kind of funny that you say that, because when I was watching this, I did have this feeling of, I feel like I'm watching more of a pilot to a Star show than a movie sometimes. But I'm not saying that's... I'm just saying that it made me kind of feel like I want this as like a series or even a sequel.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It definitely feels very set, because it's entirely reliant on the origin, for sure. I mean, that's the whole point of the movie. It doesn't use the origin to tell a different story.
Yeah, I mean, what I like about it is the origin is arguably the most interesting thing you can do with RoboCop. And I think what I loved about this movie, like the thing that made me enjoy it more so... Hold on, let me rephrase that. The thing that made me enjoy it that the original didn't do is you actually got to see, like, what the toll of this had on his family and, like, how exactly that came about.
Definitely.
I think my favorite scene in the movie, and it's a very short scene, but it really is so damn out. Oh, dude. Oof.
What?
Deadpoolzilla, can you mute your mic for a sec, dude? Sorry, man, I was just getting some really bad feedback. I think the scene in this that really works for me on a fundamental level was when you see his wife about to sign the papers to give consent for them to do this.
Yeah, I really like that
because
scene
like
too.
it's so grounded because that would have had to happen, you know? Like in the original, they just kind of like they never really explain how they get the right.
They don't. He's dead.
Legally to turn Alex Murphy into RoboCop. They're just this faceless corporation kind of thing.
Yeah, but no, they don't have to get the rights in the original because he's legally dead.
Oh, okay. Well, still, you get my point, though.
Well, I mean, that's the big difference between this version and the original, and why I think this version is validated. Because
Deadpoolzilla, you were gonna say?
Sorry to interrupt, Bill, but I was just saying that here it makes a little more sense that his wife would sign over because he's kind of a vegetable, but he's still alive in there. And it is very interesting to say that a wife would choose that over. I mean, always stand by. I mean, I guess stand by your man takes a whole new meaning here.
Indeed.
But no, the one scene. Actually, I want to get this out of the way because this scene out of the entire movie made me go, "Holy shit!" And I watched this with my dad, and it's the scene where. And I'm sorry if I'm jumping ahead, but you guys probably know what I'm talking about. It's the scene where after he gets out of the Robocop stuff, and he's talking to Gary Oldman's character. He's like, "Take it off. I want to see it." And the arms come off, and I'm like, okay, the legs come off, okay. Then the torso comes off, and he's like, holy Christ.
Oh, dude, that is my favorite scene in the movie.
Like, that made me go, oh my God.
It's weird, because we live in such a desensitized era in terms of action movies and horror movies with stuff like Saw and Machete and all these kind of movies where it's just buckets of blood and bodies getting torn apart by bullets. And
I think what makes the gore, the like shock value of this work is they linger on it and you're seeing someone actually experience it, you know, as opposed to like in your horror movies it just kind of happens and then like someone maybe cries but then they move on to the next horrible thing. Mm-hmm. This lingers for a long time.
Yeah,
it lingers throughout the film.
Definitely. It's such a powerful scene though because you just it hit me in a place that a scene in a movie like that hasn't hit me in a long time. Because I never say what the fuck out loud in a movie theater anymore because I'm used to everything. And then I see the Robocop remake, which I think I'm going to at least say what the fuck out loud, and all of a sudden they're showing me a head on a fucking stick telling me that's Robocop, and I'm like, oh my God.
I like how he had that kind of reaction where he's just saying holy Christ all the time, and people are saying, oh, that's dumb. No, that's a sensible reaction, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it really was.
Definitely. And I want to go back. This is going to sound random, but I kind of want to go back to something that one of you said earlier. I think it was Ian. That people were complaining about this because it isn't a satire. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be honest. I don't watch the original Robocop for the satire. I don't. I watch it for the story, and I watch it for the performances and for the ambiance of it. I mean, the satire is great, and it definitely enhances the world. And if there's one thing this movie falters on, its world is extremely generic. And I feel like that's the purpose it served. The movie isn't reliant on it. You know what I mean? It's more about the ambiance and the story and the discovery of the horrible thing that was done to Alex Murphy. And this movie takes a different approach with it, and it's very, very modern in how it tells that story, being very, very serious, and there's really only a couple jokes in the movie. It's not very jokey. The violence, what little is in there, the violence is extremely straight-laced, you know what I mean? And
well, I think the violence is very methodical. It's very, like, efficient violence, because the person that you see doing the most violence... Deadpoolzilla, please. The person that you see committing the most acts of violence is Robocop, and he's just really calculating about it, which I thought was really clever.
Yeah, but my biggest problem with this movie, and I have two major ones. My biggest one is that we don't get to see enough of Robocop being Robocop. Once he gets back to Detroit, he doesn't seem to. He just kind of drives around on a bike, he tases a couple of guys, and that's about it. There's no scene like in the original, that iconic scene where the girl's getting raped, and RoboCop steps out of the car into the light. There's that shadow, and there's that amazing scene that has become iconic now. There's no scene like that, and the reason people might say that they don't do it is because it's PG-13. You can't show something that extreme. It doesn't have to be that extreme, but give me something like that. I don't buy in this reality of RoboCop that Detroit is that crime-ridden of a city. They don't show enough of it.
Well, you haven't been to Detroit.
No, Ian, I'm saying in the reality of the movie, not real life. I'm saying the Detroit that is presented in this version of RoboCop doesn't seem that bad, and it should be, is my point.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm just saying, like...
Oh, no, Detroit is the
Go to Detroit. Go to Detroit. You don't need to see Detroit displayed. You just need to know they're in Detroit.
Go ahead, Deadpoolzilla. I'm sorry. I keep interrupting you.
The other thing is that I have the faintest feeling that when this comes out on DVD, we're going to get an uncut edition.
I hope so.
Because I feel like there was some stuff, it was heavily edited, because obviously I think they were trying to go with the PG-13 rating, obviously they wanted to get more of more family stuff, and when I say that I mean a younger male audience or female audience in there.
Right,
too.
like teenagers and stuff.
Yeah, teenagers. So I think we will get an uncut edition, because I feel like there were some scenes in there I was like, I'm kind of hoping for that. It's kind of like when I walked out of World War Z, where I was like, I would have liked it more if it was uncut, and we get an uncut DVD a little while later. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's what we're going to get here with RoboCop. What you were talking about with Chicago being not that crime-ridden, it felt like...
Detroit.
Oh, Detroit. Why do I get that mixed up?
Batman.
Detroit being mixed up. Basically Detroit being all this crime-ridden city. It does feel a little, like, far-fetched that it wouldn't be that much crime going on. And it does, and again, I did have the problem of, well, we don't see a lot of him being RoboCop. We just see him being, I want to be a man again. The other thing is the whole erasing his memory thing felt it was profane. I mean, it had a very good character impact in the Peter Weller movie. And here, it just felt like a hindrance. That whole erasing his memory thing.
I don't think they really erased his memory. They just kind of, like, took his personality away from him.
In the movie, what they say is that they remove the feed of dopamine to his brain. Meaning, in pseudoscience language, they cut off his emotions.
Mm-hmm. So, like, they don't really take away his memories. He just becomes this cold, calculating, software-driven man.
Right.
And
yeah,
which is weird that you wouldn't start off doing that. It's weird that they wait till they plug him in.
Well, it's all a PR stunt is the reason why they do it. And when they do it, what was his name? Raymond Sellers? Raymond Sellers is like, the fuck did you do to RoboCop? And
right.
You can clearly they didn't want that to happen because he immediately just starts fucking shit up.
No, dude, Pat Novak really did make a strong case for RoboCop. Just that scene where it's like, this murderer and arsonist was standing between two of Detroit's finest.
Yeah.
And RoboCop takes him down in less than 60 seconds.
Yep.
Like, that's a really good argument for why you need robot police, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
Can I talk about Keaton real quick? I love his performance in this movie, and I really want him in an Iron Man movie now.
Samuel L. Jackson?
No, I said Michael Keaton.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
You cut out when you said Michael Keaton. Oh, fuck yeah, bro, totally.
He would.
Yeah, I can see it.
I want him as an Iron Man villain now.
Yeah,
older.
I could see that.
If they would have done Justin Hammer as older, he would have been fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Can I say something random? Because and it's not really random because it's in the movie kind of.
Well, hold on, just one sec, because if I don't say this now, I'll forget about it.
Go ahead.
So ever since seeing this, I just have had this image in my head. I want to make a really high budget spoof of Robocop, where Robocop just has to deal with the day-to-day shit of being a police officer. He has to pull over somebody that's being an asshole and give him a ticket, and he has to, arrest somebody for drunk and disorderly in public.
Your move, creep. That's not what I meant.
Robocops, what you gonna do?
What you gonna do when they come for you? Let me just say this quick. I tweeted this today, so Ian, you'll probably know what I'm talking about because I tweeted this earlier. Alright, so there's a scene in the movie, the first time you see Alex Murphy all decked out as Robocop. It's a dream sequence. And he's dreaming about this barbecue he had with his family, and he's dancing, and they're dancing to a Frank Sinatra song.
Yeah.
And they cut away, and they show you what's going on, actually, because they show, they kind of cut away from the dream into the OCP, or Omnicorp as it is in this movie, little science lab. And you see them walking around him, they show you what's going on, and then they cut to this image of Frank Sinatra singing the song, and I'm like, why the fuck hasn't Michael Keaton played Frank Sinatra in a movie yet? Because they look insanely similar.
Oh well, missed opportunities. A little old for it now.
No, do it. Do it in the 60s. He was that age in the 60s.
And plus, too old my ass. He's trying to do Beetlejuice 2.
Yeah, so definitely not. But come on, Hollywood, before he does.
Well, no, I'm just saying, if you're gonna make a biopic about Frank Sinatra at this point, Michael Keaton's too old because he can't play young Frank Sinatra.
No, you get a different actor to play him younger. You put some makeup on him.
Okay.
I'm just saying, he looks too much like Frank Sinatra now to not do it. And even when he was young, he looked like Frank Sinatra.
Let's move on. Then.
No, I'm hung up on this, Ian. I want my goddamn Michael Keaton Frank Sinatra movie. No. I use that. I was kind of using it as a segue. I think one of my other favorite scenes in the movie, just because, and what I was really impressed with about this whole movie, big thing I liked, it's being a character piece first before it's being a straight up action movie. Mm-hmm. And as a film guy, I was very, very pleased with that. And I was like, oh, good on, because New Hollywood doesn't do that no more. So to see it be done, I was very, very, very happy. And by that same token, I love the scene where they hook Robocop up and that other droid, and Jackie Earle Haley is running that simulation, and he starts playing the Tin Man music just to fuck with Alex Murphy. What an asshole! Yeah. It was a great scene. Yeah,
that was a good one. Let's move into a complaint I've heard about this, because I've listened to a couple of reviews at this point, since somebody had to wait forever to go see the movie.
I have my reasons.
I've listened to a couple of reviews at this point, and one thing that I kept hearing come up was the original Robocop was a political satire in a lot of ways. And Bill, you say you didn't watch it for that, but clearly this movie has its moments where it's kind of fiddling that line, right?
Oh, totally, yeah.
And so, a lot of people were disappointed that it didn't go far enough into the satire or, more serious version of, more serious commentary on the political issue. I actually really liked just the very basic level that we got about this idea of, drones being this far advanced and just walking around, the streets in Middle Eastern countries that we're occupying, and I thought that was really fascinating because that's where we're headed.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of how would we feel about having that kind of shit go on our streets and stuff.
Oh, it's totally fine on other countries that are all those third world countries. Bring it here. Oh hell no. That's basically what they're saying.
Keep your robots off my street.
What you got to remember is it's okay to do it in those other countries because those are brown people. Let's be honest, they're not really people.
Wow, he said it, not us.
I'm brown, and
Brown
it's
himself.
called
He's allowed to say it.
I'm brown, and it's called a joke. Anyway. No, I really did like the political commentary that we did get. What'd you guys think of it overall, though?
I dug it.
Yeah, I dug it. Samuel Jackson as Pat Novak. Every time he was really good because he pretty much played like a Black Bill O'Reilly.
Oh,
yep.
Definitely.
And here's the thing, and this is just me being stupid. But every time he shouted a sentence, there was part of me that was expecting him saying, "Now what's in your wallet?"
Right?
Yeah, because he's been doing those ads lately, hasn't he?
And he's walking in the same position. I thought the same thing, dude. I really liked the Novak element aspect because it was their version of, what was it called? They had their own version of it in the original series with the two people.
Yeah.
It was their version of that, and I was glad they incorporated it. I thought Sam Jackson was fantastic, especially his last scene, where he says he finally gets one motherfucker in there before the movie ends. It had to happen.
That was good. I think the one thing that was missing from the Pat Novak bits, where we just needed to see, like, funding by Omnicorp somewhere down there. Yeah. That was the only thing that was missing as far as political commentary goes.
The other complaint I have with this movie is the ending, how it just suddenly ends. And how it kind of ends. But let me explain what I thought. Me and my dad, when we walked out of the theater, we talked about it. It was like, it would have been cooler if when Novak is shouting and stuff, he suddenly just starts, like, skipping out. And then you find out, he was a cyborg or a robot the whole time, or like a hologram bitch.
Oh, that would have been genius.
No, that would have been too ridiculous.
No, I would have liked that. No, let me tell you, I didn't like the end.
That would have been exactly like Ronald Reagan being a robot in The Dark Knight 2.
It wasn't Ronald Reagan, it was a different president.
No, but it was clearly Ronald Reagan.
No, it was supposed to be George W. Bush in The Dark Knight Strikes Again.
I'm pretty sure.
No, Reagan was the original.
Okay, well, still. He drew him exactly.
What you said was wrong. I'm just pointing it out. One thing, I didn't like the ending either, and it comes down to this. It really has nothing to do with Robocop. Like, Robocop's story ends, and then the movie just kind of keeps going. And I feel like the movie should have ended on an image of him by the sheer virtue of his name is in the title. And here's my big thing. Here's how the movie should have ended in a perfect world. What I hoped was going to happen happens. That stupid ass black costume gets destroyed, and he puts on the silver one to go off and be Robocop. And he's walking through the halls, and I'm like, in a perfect world, that motorcycle is going to screech out onto the streets of Detroit, and the theme song is going to kick in again, because biggest positive about the movie, fucking theme song's in there.
That's cool.
And then that's going to take us into the credits, because that's how you end a fucking Robocop movie. And no, you see Robocop in a melancholy way walking through the halls in like a fucking like shaky cam video. And then they cut to Pat Novak doing the wrap up where he finally name drops OCP instead of Omnicorp. And then the movie just ends on a shitty pop song. And I was like, this is really how you're going to end a Robocop movie?
Did anyone sit after the credits?
No. I did.
We probably should have. I imagine there might have been something.
No, I had to leave. But I probably should have. But maybe they kicked in the theme later. I don't know. But I just thought it kind of whimpered out in the end. You know what I mean? And with a RoboCop movie, you want it to be bombastic.
I mean, I will say this again. The first RoboCop movie has the greatest action movie ending of all time.
Oh, bar none.
Because it just ends at the climax of the movie, you know? It's the top not action scene, but the top, like, the plot is resolved and the movie just ends.
Yeah,
There's
no bullshit, it just stops. It's like, we're fucking done, go home.
Pretty good shooting. What's your name, son? Murphy, sir.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh, I mean, let me just say it again. The fact that, you know when this movie had me? Because, again, I went in not sure of it. I was like, I don't know. This movie had me, because they do that long extended opening in the Middle Eastern country, and I'm like, yeah, okay, this is interesting. It really has nothing to do with RoboCop. And then they cut to Detroit, and you hear the fucking generic ass modern score go, you know, like the Dark Knight sounding, and then all of a sudden you just hear this trumpet, and then it starts, and I'm like, no, they're not. And then it's dun 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 dun. You see the fucking title. I was like, oh my god, it's fucking RoboCop. And then you see Alex Murphy like fucking walking through the Detroit Police Department with that theme playing, and I was like, all right, this movie's awesome. I'm in. You got me.
Yeah, the theme really, I mean, RoboCop has the best of the action movie, or the 80s movie themes, in my opinion.
Oh, bar none. Bar none.
By the way, speaking of the drones real quick, I love the updates on them. They look kind of like... You guys ever played MechWarrior?
Nah.
Mm-mm.
I was talking to Milan a little bit about RoboCop last night, and he's like, there are Metal Gear Solids running around. And I'm like, if anything, there are Ed 209s in Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, definitely. They were a great reimagining. I agree with you guys. Great reimagining.
I really liked the use of the drones, just visually and politically.
That, and guys, they had the fucking voice. Ed 209 had the voice.
Yeah, that was cool. But I really like that.
Weapons. You have 30 seconds to comply.
Right? Like, I do kind of miss just seeing an 80s executive just get shot to shit. But, what's so good about that scene in the original is that just nobody cares that a man is dead. It's just like, oh, well, that's inconvenient. Now we gotta stop for an hour while the cops come.
Deadpoolzilla, go ahead.
But it is a little more terrifying to watch a 10-year-old boy get blown to smithereens.
Yeah, that was pretty messed up.
Better if it would have been in gory detail. No, I'm kidding. That's terrible.
Well, like that's the other thing. People are really complaining that it wasn't hard R, so like there wasn't going to be any blood in it, or at least no lasting blood.
Yeah.
So like everyone was really pissed off about that because it's a fair criticism. I mean, the original RoboCop demands the gore, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of the things that makes that movie what it is.
Yeah, so when you hear that they're doing RoboCop PG-13, you're like, oh, come on, how are you going to do it without the blood? But this is like the Dark Knight of a PG...
It pushes
Dark Knight
it.
level PG-13.
I was talking to Dylan last night. He's a big RoboCop guy as well. And he was like, Bill, I really don't want to see it, but I got to know, what was it like? And I'm like, dude, you really should see it. It's really, really good. I really enjoyed it anyway. I mean, it's definitely flawed, but I liked it a lot. You should check it out. And he's like, all right, but what about the PG-13? I was like, yeah, we were all worried about the PG-13, but dude, listen, they push it big time. And
I mean, there's no blood, but there's quite a bit of violence.
No, I mean, I think the big thing that pushes it is the scene where he gets all the armor taken off. That's where you're like, oh, they're pushing this rating.
Well, no, I mean, I think, like, just violence-wise, you know, you got that kid dying at the very beginning, and it tells you this isn't going to be a family movie by any means.
It's a family picture.
Yeah.
RoboCop.
Like, there's some really graphic scenes. Like, when you see, it's a really brief clip, but you get to see Alex Murphy in the damn hospital bed.
Yeah, and not to mention you see him get blown up. And it's not like a movie explosion. This is like, that is how a car would blow up with a pipe bomb in it.
Yeah.
Well, it's a movie explosion because there's a fireball and not, like, bits and pieces everywhere.
Question. They put the pipe bomb the pipe bomb in the car at the hospital. Why does it not explode until he gets home?
That is a good question. I actually asked myself the moment that happened, like, why not just detonate it when you get to the hospital? Too conspicuous, I guess, or was it like a timer? I don't know.
That's what I thought.
Because if he's at the hospital, there's a chance they could have saved him. Would have been their thinking.
Anyway.
I don't know.
I mean,
well, yeah, but they didn't know that they didn't know that he'd be close enough to go. Like, they didn't know that he'd be well enough to get to the hospital after exploding in his house.
Yeah, but how do they
if a car bomb goes off in front of a hospital, it seems like there's a greater chance someone's going to survive that,
but
right?
How would they know? Like, what if? I mean, he could have parked it in like a fucking preschool, and then they would have more blood on their hands. So, like, how did they know that it was going to wait that long to go off?
I think it was remote triggered. Because, I mean, it doesn't start going, like, it doesn't happen until his car alarm starts going off.
Yeah, but it's not remote triggered by them.
No, like the corrupt cops it is. I think it is. He does that full investigation, and he sees this car he doesn't know right across his street.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is remote control.
Yeah, because he does that. I really like how they show how RoboCop, like, does detective work. I thought that was really cool with the...
Actually, it's funny. I literally said, oh, he went to Arkham City detective mode.
Right?
Yeah, right.
it's a little cheap because like it looks like the computer is doing everything for him. But I did like how he sets up a crime scene and he looks at all the evidence and he uses the video playback. But I don't know, it felt like the computer was doing everything and he was just kind of along for the ride.
Well, which is kind of the point they made, but he was the one controlling the computer. So I mean,
fair enough.
It's honestly the biggest argument the movie's trying to make: is Alex Murphy more machine than man? And it's like, Bill, when we were reading Transmetropolitan, there was the one issue where the guy gets cyborgified or whatever it was.
Wait, do you mean the one where he gets uploaded into the...
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Spider Jerusalem makes an argument in Transmetropolitan, and we'll go through it real quick. Bill, just go along with what I ask you, okay?
Sure.
If I get my hand cut off and I get it replaced with a very advanced prosthetic, am I still a human being?
Well, you never were a human being, but sure.
Thanks. Now if I get all of my limbs replaced with prosthetics, am I still a human?
Sure, why not?
Okay, if I replace every single part of my body except for my brain, and assuming that the chemical processes in my brain still work the same after I've replaced everything, so I still have the same personality, am I still a human being?
Sure.
And that's the thing, like, you say sure, but if you met someone that's a fucking robot with a brain in the jar, you're gonna question whether or not they're a person anymore, right? Yeah, you're gonna question whether or not they're a person anymore.
Right, now they're just fucking Krang.
Yeah, it's just a really interesting, it's an interesting classic sci-fi premise of, is someone that's only alive because of technology a human being anymore?
Oh, definitely, and this movie, definitely equal to the original, asks that in kind of a similar way, but they show it rather than just talking about it. Because in the original, I think it was in Robocop 2 where they say, "You're not Alex Murphy. You're a couple of chunks of meat inside of a robotic body with a fake face put on." Because they're very clear in the original that that's not exactly his face. It was kind of molded, which I'm assuming that they at least had to do some plastic surgery in this one because he looked fucked up when that bomb went off.
Yeah.
So they definitely did some kind of surgery.
Can we talk real quick about the one thing that kind of bothered me, but I think that actually my dad had a really good theory about this, the one human hand.
Yeah, what was up with that?
My dad actually had a really good theory about it, was that I think he said that maybe what it was supposed to be was supposed to be like a DNA thumbprint for his weapons that only he could use, kind of like the Judge Dredd Lawmaster, or Lawgiver, excuse me. And they probably cut that scene, like when only he could use his guns, and when someone else tried to take them from him, they wouldn't be used against him. But I mean,
maybe.
Yeah, but he dual wields weapons in the movie.
Yeah,
I thought the reason they did the hand is because you just would want to, it's a tribute to the old movie, because there's that line, it's like, oh, looks like we can save the hand or the arm, and they go, nah, just cut it off. I thought the weird thing about the hand is it's just there and it's clearly not attached to anything whatsoever.
That was weird, right? Because it's like, why keep it? And first things first, it's a major weakness. I mean, that's the big thing. And then two, it looks fake because it's not connected to anything. When they take off all the armor, there's literally 4 pieces of Alex Murphy left: his brain, his face, his lungs, and his hand. And the hand is just kind of dangling there because it needs the robotic part to move. So, I don't know. I thought that was weird. I thought it was a very strange choice. I have a feeling if they do a sequel, and they probably will, they're probably going to get rid of it. They'll probably put a glove on only because of... Or, not a glove. That would be weird. They're probably going to put armor on just because of how many people fucking bitched about it.
Or they're going to finally explain that it's not an actual hand or something.
Yeah.
Or it's his skin put over a robot hand or something.
Yeah, well, I don't know. They'll explain it somehow.
Speaking of sequel, and with remakes you always retread ground, but with the sequel, I would not mind if they brought in Kane. I'd really like to see a remake version of Kane.
I don't think they will. I'm going to ask you guys a question, because this will determine what I say following this. Did Jackie Earle Haley's character die?
No.
No, he did die. He got shot 3 times in the back by Murphy's partner.
Well, you never see him, like... I thought that he just kind of got, like, taken out. I don't know if he's dead kind of thing.
Because he would be the perfect version of Kane in this continuity. Because if you read the original Frank Miller script for Robocop 2, or the graphic novelization of it like I have, one thing they do that's very interesting is that they... Or not interesting, but it's different than the other one, is that they just have a mercenary become Robocop 2. And... the character in this movie was a little smarter than that character, but he kind of reminded me of him. He was, he's a military jarhead, very, very, gun heavy, and he doesn't look at robots in any other way than they're appliances. So I feel like if you're gonna do a version of Kane in this universe, I think unless they create a new character, I think he's kind of the only choice. I think he makes the most sense. And also, turning him into a robot would be fascinating, because he looks down on robots.
Yeah, the other thing is that even if he did die, they could always just save his brain.
That too. I mean, It's very easy to just, it'd be very, very easy to just do that. Because Kane was dead in Robocop 2 when they brought him back.
Yeah. I think that, I think you could do a robot fight, but honestly, I think the more interesting way to take a sequel is to have, the worry about, a hacker or something along those lines as a villain. Because this movie really lacked a villain. That's my biggest complaint about it.
Definitely.
There's no real villain throughout this movie. I mean, it's kind of funny that they made Michael Keaton, he was kind of like a Steve Jobs type.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
He doesn't... It's really subtle. He's kind of bald. He doesn't wear a suit ever. And
he wears, sneakers and shit.
Yeah, he's just very subtly kind of like that Steve Jobs billionaire kind of look to him. So, that was interesting. I think you would take... but he's not really a villain until the last 10 minutes. And then... Yeah, the other guy that blew up RoboCop was such a non-starter,
Oh, big, anticlimax is you think he's going to be the big fucking plot thread, and he dies a half hour before the movie ends. Mm-hmm. So he's not the main villain. I mean, he's kind of this movie's version of Red Foreman from the first one, or whatever his name... I think his name is Clarence in the first movie.
Yeah, that's who he's supposed to be, but he's not that... he's nowhere near as interesting.
Also, Ian, I gotta say this now. Okay, one of the biggest issues with this movie, I have 2 big ones. This is part of the second one. How the fuck did they not give Peter Weller a cameo? How did that not happen?
That was messed up,
How did Peter Weller not get a cameo? I don't understand it. I don't get it. And more than that, how did Red Foreman not get a cameo? Both of them. They should have both had cameos. I mean, legit, there's so many options you could have. I mean, Peter Weller could have been the fucking police captain. He could have been he could have been a lab technician.
No, he could have been the voice of the EVs.
That would work too. I mean, it wouldn't have been as obvious, but I mean, on screen, there's RoboCop. Dylan's idea, which I would have loved, and I hope maybe they'll do it in the sequel. Who knows? Is you have a scene of Peter Weller being this old cop hunting down Red Foreman as this old criminal.
No, that'd be fun.
And RoboCop helps out. That would have been amazing.
Yeah.
And I was so pissed that nothing like that was here.
Oh, it'd have been great. Peter Weller's character looks over at RoboCop and says, "Nice suit."
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, we gotta talk about this now. That fucking suit.
It didn't... Okay, let me say this. It's not great, but it didn't look bad. It looked bad in the trailers, but I don't think it looked bad in the movie itself.
It didn't bother me. Everyone bitched about the black costume. I was like, whatever. It didn't really bother me. It made... I think I'd be okay if they switched between them depending on what exactly he was doing. If he's just on his regular patrol, keep him in the silver, but if he's going out at, night, or if he's doing, a stealth mission or something, go to black, and I'd be cool with that.
I'd be alright with that, but the problem is, it's just so generic looking. It doesn't give off this grand, unique impression that RoboCop should. Because whenever RoboCop comes on screen in the original series, he always inspires, what the fuck? And in this one, it's like, hey, look, it's Batman.
Robobat.
It's Robobat, yeah. I'd pay to see that movie. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't feel that way. Whenever he's on screen, I'm not like, it's fucking Robocop, bitches. It's just like, oh, look, it's a guy in a black suit. It looked better in the movie than it did in the trailers. I think the big reason for that is they touched it up with the CG. And my favorite example of this is when he goes home to his wife and son, which is another great scene. And he comes in, and, there's that scene with him and the wife, but then he goes in with the kid. And it's such this heartbreaking scene because like, the kid doesn't know the extent of the damage, but you and Alex know. Mm-hmm. And you know that if he told the kid would be just done. Like, he doesn't know how little of his dad is actually in there. And the dad says it's a suit, even though it's not a suit. And when he kneels down and his son touches it, and by the way, I liked Alex saying, "Come on, buddy, you want to touch my suit?" Because it seems like something a father would have to say. Because the kid would be uncomfortable, like, oh, I want to, but I don't want to ask because it's rude.
See, like, I'm honestly wondering if they, like, whoever wrote this, if he actually knew someone or talked to someone that lost a body part in a war and had a child. Because it really did, it felt exactly like that kind of thing would play out, like coming home with a prosthetic leg to see your son for the first time or something like that.
Right.
And just having to deal with him, like, because kids don't know not to stare, you know?
Right, exactly. Okay, my example of this, because this is personal, is I went to my first wake when I was about 8. Mm-hmm. And when I went to the wake, me and all the other kids had the same thing. We want to touch the dead body. Because it's just that sick curiosity, like, what does it feel like? And we all went out to our parents and like, can we touch the dead body?
And I'm pretty sure your mom probably killed you.
And we all did. It's like, but it's that same kind of thing where it's like it needs to be said. You can't just do it out of respect. And I really liked that moment. And then the kid touches it. And the point I was getting to was when he kneels down, the knee clicks, and you see it like kind of pop down. So it's kind of this look at the audience going, he's lying. This ain't no suit. This is him. Yep. And I loved that moment. I thought it was a fantastic moment in the movie.
The one thing about the suit is the whole visor thing, how it kind of slides down. I didn't mind it, but thanks to my good friend Kirk, if all of you watching this would know Barrett Shades at Night. When it goes down, he did a parody of it, and he was like, "Who are you, Cyclops? Get down."
Yeah, he looks kind of like Cyclops, and it goes down like Iron Man's does, which is what I think the whole point was.
Oh,
just to be
totally
Iron Man.
I don't mind the visor. I just don't like the black suit in general. It just doesn't look like Robocop.
Oh, well, hopefully if we get a remake, not remake, sequel. Thank you. A sequel, we'll get more of the silver suit.
If they do a sequel, that's clearly what they're going to do because they put him back in the silver at the end. So I'm hoping.
Yeah, I really do hope that they, like, I don't necessarily need it to be more silver. I like the silver one more, but I'd like it if they switch between them.
But the silver one in this movie looked so fantastic that I was so pissed at how little screen time it got. It gets quite a bit in the beginning, but it didn't get enough because it looked so good.
Now, Bill, hold on. We did a video reacting to the first trailer we saw of it. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I could have sworn somewhere in the back of my head that scene that actually made me kind of interested in this movie that we were just talking about, where he's talking to his kid. In the trailer, wasn't it in the silver suit?
No, it was in the black suit.
Okay, maybe that's just my head fucking with me, because I could have sworn. Like, I vividly remember him being in the silver suit in that one.
No, he was in the black, because I remembered that moment, because that was kind of the moment in the trailer for me where I was like, ooh, this is different.
Yeah, like, that's what, like, this movie is not better than the original. It's doing something completely different to make it its own thing.
It validates itself, yeah.
Yeah, it validates itself as its own thing, so that's what I really like about it. And the strong part that this movie has over the original is all the stuff they do with the family.
Absolutely.
I mean, like I said, my favorite scene is his wife consenting to what they're going to do to him.
Mm-hmm.
I love that scene because it's just so real.
Yeah. Now, the interesting thing is, and this might also be a problem, is you gotta ask, where is this gonna... And I want to see this happen, and the reason why I say it might be a problem is because I don't know if these writers will do it properly, is where is this gonna go now? Because now most of the people who ruined his life with the Robocop situation are dead. And he's got Professor Norton there to take care of him and provide him with what he needs to operate. But he can't just go back and live with his family.
Why not?
Because he's fucking Robocop.
I don't know. I wouldn't mind him
He's a
having
head
like a
on
family.
a stick with a bunch of robotic parts helping him move.
Well, let me finish. I wouldn't mind him trying to have a family life and them investigating the problems that come up with that.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that's
okay,
what
I'm like,
good.
Bill, like, you just don't want to see the family?
No, Ian, I absolutely do. But the thing is, like, to a certain point, once this origin piece is done, it's like, it's the same thing as a girlfriend in a superhero movie. They kind of start to get in the way, or a boyfriend, whatever. I don't want to be sexist. The love interest, if you will. In a superhero movie, they kind of start to get in the way, where it's like, you know, we just want to see the hero doing his thing. We don't need him saving you every 5 minutes, kind of thing. But I do want to see where that goes, because the big thing is he can't sleep in a bed. So, he can't, sleep with his wife. You know what I mean? That's the interesting thing.
The other thing is that you look at this, and it could be something they could delve in the sequel, is this new villain, who I wouldn't mind is something like even a Bond-type villain, or kind of like that villain we saw in the fourth Die Hard film, where it's more of a, I don't have to attack you directly to make you suffer. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, I think a hacker is the way to go with Robocop.
Yeah, like you were saying, that could be a great route, and someone who could easily make Robocop not just attack him directly like these robots that he had to fight this time around, but someone who doesn't even have to touch him to ruin him.
Mm-hmm.
And you could easily get the Robocop system take over, or even since this world is clearly so heavily dependent on technology, he could just use this new villain could just use all of that on people and just kind of set. He could even just a very realistic villain, someone who could just with a flip of the switch destroy some Robocop's life.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that'd be fantastic. I mean, and it's especially different because they really couldn't have done a hacker back in the old series, just because hacking wasn't a thing back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was, but it was like Jurassic Park hacking, where any 14-year-old knew how to hack the biggest government systems.
I think what you could do here is someone like it could be easily like Robocop's Moriarty or something.
Yeah, or you just
Robo Moriarty. I'd pay to see that too.
One of the things people are talking about now is there will at a certain point there won't even be like boots on the ground wars. It'll just be people hacking into other countries' systems and like robbing them.
Right. Information.
You could really just you could do like a war with China in which China just straight up hacks Robocop as part of like a just a cyber attack or something.
Absolutely, I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
Though I would like to see like a Kane or type character just for a good fight. I mean, at least as a pawn, it'd be nice.
I would like to see, maybe you could see other countries trying to make their own Robocops.
Ooh, good call. That's interesting because it's you see Omnicorp in this movie, and it's definitely clear that they could definitely have competition in making these cyborgs.
The only problem with that is it's a little too much like the plot of Iron Man 2. Just a little bit. You'd have to really try to make it not the plot of Iron Man 2.
Yeah, but the problem with Iron Man 2 was that it didn't pick a plot. That was one of the subplots that built into the wider story. I think what would be better here is if you focus on that, and you focus on the true political implications of it, and the personal implications of it on Robocop, and you focus on it. Because I think one plus that this movie had was that it was very streamlined and very focused, and there was never a moment where I was like, why are we going in this direction? It always seemed to know what it was doing to build on itself. In terms of
I disagree with that because I still think that it didn't build itself very well. It felt kind of disjointed, especially with the double villain plot that it had.
Definitely in that direction, but I mean, it never felt like, because in Robocop 2, for example, it feels like there's so many subplots going on that we're losing focus. Mm-hmm. This never had that for me. Yeah. I definitely agree with you. Well, it's not so much that the plot is disjointed, there just isn't a plot. It's just a bunch of situations that happen to come about because of the Robocop thing, and I just think that's an issue because it kind of makes the movie feel anticlimactic in the end. I mean, that's my biggest problem is the first half is way better than the second half.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Fully agree with that. It's really good up until he kills the guy that killed him, and then it's just kind of like, all right, what's going on?
Well, that and the other problem is the whole, and I'm going to call this, even though it's not called that in this version, the whole prime directives thing, so to speak, is solved so quickly, where, him being the straight-laced classic Robocop, and it's like a 5-minute scene, and it's so easily solved where he just punches it, Gary Oldman just punches in that new thing, and it's like, oh, you're good to go, Alex. It's like, wouldn't it be a lot harder
Wait, what are you talking
than
about? What are you talking about?
Okay. So in the movie, because he is having a seizure, because of all the things being pumped into his mind, all the police records, in order to solve that problem, Gary Oldman, again, he cuts off all the dopamine, he removes all his emotions, so he's just a straight-laced robot.
Yeah.
And then he goes off and he starts solving crimes. It's so quick, and it's wrapped up so easily because what happens is he just starts to fight it very quickly, very, very soon after it happens. And then the way it gets solved permanently, so that way they have no control over him, is Gary Oldman just punches that thing back in his brain, that little chip. Or no, he removes.
No, Bill,
he removes it.
That's not what happens at all.
What are you talking about? Yes, it is.
No, Bill, it's not. No, the thing he removes is this receiver that Maddox was controlling him with.
Oh.
Okay, because Robocop gets shut down when he's about to arrest the chief of police, and it's Maddox that shut him down. So Gary Oldman removes that piece.
Oh, okay. Well,
what happens is Robocop is, just straight machine for that period of time, and they're really kind of vague about how long he is like that. But anyway, he's just that straight machine for that period of time until his wife, gets in his face, and that activates the human part of his brain, which circumvents the machine.
Oh,
and
okay.
Because the premise was that Gary Oldman, in order to make him function more quickly, just had the chip take over control once the visor came down and make all the decisions, but it made it think that Alex was making the decisions. This, as soon as he saw his wife, he wanted to go investigate his own murder, but the chip wasn't letting him, so his brain rewired itself, basically, and brains can do that on a very quick level. Surprisingly quick, by the way. His whole brain just rewired itself, more or less, so that it circumvented the chip and he was able to make decisions again.
Oh.
That's because, when he's in the damn police office about to arrest the chief, or when he's talking to the corrupt cops, he's Alex Murphy again.
Right. No, but my issue still stands that it's wrapped up too quickly.
Well, yes and no. I think the problem with this movie, the biggest problem besides the whole villain thing, is the movie's too short because you don't know how long he's supposed to be Robocop, There's that scene where he reveals himself, and then you get a couple scenes of him going around, fighting crime, and he shoots the one guy.
Not nearly enough, mind you.
Yeah, it's not nearly enough, but we don't know how long that time period was supposed to last.
Fair enough. This movie was shockingly short. The first Robocop is a chunky piece of film, so this was very, very quick.
This needed at least another half hour.
I totally agree. Just to build the plot more in a more satisfactory way, if nothing else.
Yeah. Is there anything else we wanted to mention, or are we good to start wrapping up here?
Other than how, I just wanted to talk about how Gary Oldman was. I think he's one of the best actors in this film, honestly.
Oh, God, yeah.
I think
his performance is excellent.
He's really good, but all the trailers made him build up that he was going to be a villain. In here, it's kind of it's actually the opposite. He's the one good guy fighting to protect Robocop's humanity.
Yep.
He does come off as very villainish in the trailers, that's true. And in this, he's totally he's against the thing from the get-go. And he's against it all the way through, yeah.
And he clearly shows that he's human, because he's the one who pulls out that dopamine in him, and clearly realizes, I have really fucked up here.
Yeah. I mean, I love that. I mean, it just shows how good of an actor Gary Oldman is. I love that scene where he goes into him, and just the tone of his voice is so real. And he's just able to shut Michael Keaton up just by being like, we have to stop this. And I love the Gary Oldman scream. It's just so iconic. Oh, by the way, 2 actors in Batman movies in one scene.
Yeah, it was
weird, wasn't
Batman
it?
and Commissioner Gordon, holy shit! Oh my god, that's amazing! Oh my god!
I think actually
Harvey Dent, can he be trusted? What? Sorry.
we were supposed to fight the mob, Keaton. What?
No, I mean, I really did like Gary Oldman. He was great in this, but God, the actor that they got to play Alex Murphy in Robocop, he was fantastic.
He's good.
I think
he's good, but here's the thing: he's not a guy I look like I'm going to follow. You know.
Fair enough. I'm going to say something I think's maybe a little controversial. I think he did the part better than Peter Weller.
Oh, blasphemy.
Fuck no. Are you crazy?
I think for what he delivered, he made me empathize with Robocop more than Peter Weller did.
No, you're out of your mind.
Oh.
He wasn't as badass, but, like, it's weird. It's this weird little, like, teeter-totter thing where Peter Weller's Robocop got more badass lines and moments for him to deliver, but this other guy's, whose name's escaping me, he got more, like, touching character investigation moments.
Yeah, but I think that's more the script than him.
Yeah, but like I'm just saying, that's the script.
Oh, but
they got different levels of those kind of moments. I think that Peter Weller did the badass better, but I think that this new guy did like the touchy feely stuff better.
Yeah, but I'm only going to disagree with you only because I feel like the script is doing a lot of the work, and Peter Weller didn't get a lot of those scenes in the original series. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
He doesn't get a lot of. If you watch the original RoboCop, he's only Alex Murphy for like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
he gets.
I'm just throwing that out there for my own, like, I know that's against the grain of opinion, but I really liked him.
Ian's just trying to be a RoboCop hipster.
Pretty much. But that's all I have to say about the movie. You guys got anything else you want to say, or can we wrap up?
Yeah, do you guys want to, like, out of, like, 1 out of 5, like, scale of 1 to 5, how'd you guys like this film?
Well, hold on. We're going to get to that right now.
I have one more thing I'd like to say.
Okay, Bill, go
Just
ahead.
one last thing to bounce off the acting thing. I thought it was really smart to cast a no-name as RoboCop and surround him with established actors.
That was cool.
I thought that was genius. I mean, almost everyone else was a name actor. Jackie Earle Haley, Gary Oldman, Michael Keaton, Sam Jackson. Mm-hmm. The guy who played his partner is a guy I've seen before, but I don't remember his name.
He was in The Wire and Boardwalk Empire.
Yeah, he was great.
Okay.
Though I'm a little pissed that they made Lewis a man. That was a little.
I didn't care. I never really liked Lewis that much. Anyway.
That's why you're a horrible human being.
Alright, Deadpoolzilla, we are going to do the 1 through 5, just to remind everybody of the rules. On Geeky Gentlemen, when we do the 1 through 5 rating system, you have to come up with a clever noun related to the movie. Alright, so, Bill, why don't you go first?
I'm going to give the remake of Robocop from 2014... Ooh, I have to actually think of the score more than the noun. I haven't had my noun. It's so hard. I am going to give it a 3.5. 3.5. Alex Murphy falling into an Asian rice patty out of 5.
Okay. Deadpoolzilla, how about you?
I am going to give it 3 out of 5 pipe bombs out of 5.
Okay. I will get... Deadpoolzilla just has, like, 3.5 pipe bombs laying around. I will give it,
He raises them.
I'll give it 3.5. This is a straight 3.5 weird. I will give it 3.5 random-ass hands out of 5.
Oh,
fuck you, Bill.
I won that one all around.
It's not a bad film. It's more like it's not. This is in no stretch a Academy Award-winning film in the long shot, but
it's surprisingly good.
Yeah.
I think this is the kind of film you would go out to see with a couple friends.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
It's a good action. It's just a good action movie, and as I always say, there's nothing more beautiful than a good action movie. Nothing more beautiful.
And then
okay.
When I say it's like out of all the 80s remake action films, this is probably the best so far. I have to continue with that because we've had so many bad horror remakes and a few other 80s movies that didn't remake.
And then there was Total Recall.
Yeah. Then there was.
Yeah.
Then there was that thing, and
yeah.
Then we get this, and yay! It doesn't suck.
That's the thing, is it just everyone expected this movie to be awful. So actually, you know what, everybody? If you're watching this review before going to see the movie, ignore everything we said. The movie's shit, but go see it anyway.
See the garbage that is Robocop 2014.
Yeah, so that way you'll enjoy it more. Go into it with lower expectations, and you'll come out probably really enjoying it.
And let me just say,
I think most of the people that went to go see it were expecting it to be to hold up with the original.
Yeah, and let me just say this: do not watch the original before going to see this movie.
Oh no. The other thing is, I think go in with low expectations too. I think that's what helped me, and as well as you guys as well.
Yeah.
Yep, I think that really does work for it. Okay, everyone. So, thank you for listening. Until next time, I'm the Philosopher.
I'm the Fanatic!
I'm the whatever.
And we're your geeky gentlemen, and we will be discussing things. Deadpoolzilla, you need to think of something. We gotta get a description for you.
Are we still